A lot of times it's a matter of like value over validation. Like you need to have a reward for the act, or you need to be praised for whatever it is that you're doing in order for it to be good enough. But when you're doing something in a way where you're like, how do I want to bring value to the world? Like, how do I want to be of service? That's when people can do things and not worry about, well, what if it's not perfect? Or what if, what if I fail? That's when you're thinking, I need to be validated. I need to be seen as a winner versus I just want to make sure that my goal here is to help people with this lack, and I'm going to provide that. And the more you provide, the more successful you become, because if you're really providing value, you're going to make a lot of money because you're solving a problem that people actually need. And when you do that, now you're abundant in wealth, you have true impact, you're operating out of value instead of validation. So it doesn't even matter if you win or fail, and you can't really fail anyway, because at the end of the day, you're just providing value.
I got nothing to add to that. That's perfect. Couldn't agree more. Hi guys, welcome back to The Alchemists with Evan Rundle. Today I have someone who I've been looking forward to interviewing for quite some time. She is a serial entrepreneur, a CEO of an event company, and the founder of a destination mastermind. We have Celia Smith. How you doing today?
Hey, Evan, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And yeah, we worked through some technical difficulties and we got a whole little interesting setup where we got like a phone and some Bluetooth headphones and we're figuring it out.
This is the first time I've ever done a digital podcast, fun fact. It's always been in person. So yeah, we made it happen.
And to be fair, this is my first time hosting a digital. I've been on a few, but this is my first time hosting. So all good all around.
Perfect.
Yeah. And, thank you for taking the call yesterday. It was great to deep dive into kind of all the different things that you've done and are doing. Where are you right now, by the way?
I just moved to Miami.
Oh, right on. Bienvenidos. How do you like it?
It's so amazing. I think anything that you're looking for, you can find here, which was surprising to me because when I first thought of Miami, or when the idea came to mind, everyone was like, don't go there, crypto scams, only fangirls, all the things you hate. You don't like to party, you don't like to club, etc. So that's what I thought Miami was. And I think that's available. Again, if you're seeking it, you can find it. But there's an amazing wellness community here. And there's a biohacking, breath work, meditation, peptide, you name it, event every day. Like you could find something and go to something or meet someone every single day. So there's just kind of an abundance of everything here. It's nice.
Love that. And couldn't agree more. That's actually my hometown. And I left for a while. I was born and raised there. And I left for a while when Brickell was nothing, like it didn't even exist. And now every time I go back, I pretend to be a tourist, like a visitor in that city, and experience it through that new lens. Because, the same, like I grew up there, I partied there, all my crazy teen years and early 20 years were there, but you get what you look for. And I love that Miami has become this kind of cultural hub now where you've got an influx of entrepreneurs and people that are doing things and movers and shakers that are collaborating and building stuff. So congratulations. Welcome to Miami.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to really experience it because I've been traveling quite a bit. So
Hmm.
my roommate Zach and I were just getting settled and just starting to kind of tap into figuring out all of the opportunities that are awaiting.
Love that. What part of town are you guys in?
We're in Edgewater.
Oh, sweet. Right on. Yeah, that's a great place. You're close to everything, but you're not like in the center of Brickell's, so you're close to Brickell, but you don't have to like be inundated in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little
You
surrounded.
guys, have you guys made it out to Little Havana yet? Okay. So you absolutely have to go when you have some time off, maybe on a Sunday, and just walk around, have no plans, just get lost and just immerse yourself in the culture, get some Cuban coffee, get some croquetas, get some pastelitos, and just immerse yourself in the Cuban culture, and you're going to have a great time.
Love it. Will do. Taking mental notes.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. The theme of this show is the Alchemists, and I find that every time I talk to an entrepreneur, we all have these kind of origin stories and moments that have kind of shaped our lives that we can still pull from to today. And rather than let them destroy us, entrepreneurs use them to build and to create things and to use them for good. And you shared with me an alchemy moment for you in high school. Can we dive into that real quick?
Yeah. First of all, I love what you're doing. I think the theme of the Alchemist podcast is amazing because I had an event recently where I shared this story and it's like the worst story ever. It's super vulnerable. So for everyone listening, just be like brace yourselves, be prepared because you will, if you have empathy, you will go through the emotions of this experience and what I'm about to tell you. And I've had years to process it. So when I told this on stage, it was horrifying because it's so deep. But what ended up happening at that event was everyone else in their independent conversations afterwards, they were able to go into deeper levels of connection and vulnerability because almost everyone in that room was incredibly successful and also a serial entrepreneur. And we all had that in common, where we have gone through some really challenging experiences. And only from that comes the type of character that's needed to do something unique, do something different, build something that hasn't been created yet. So this was the best blessing I've ever received, even though it was also the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And it's very high school. So it's kind of funny saying it now, but long story short, this girl started a sex rumor about me and it went viral. It wasn't just our high school, it was all of the high schools that heard about it within 24 hours and our parents. So one of the worst things that happened was when my parents found out about this rumor that wasn't even true. At the time, I was like an innocent Catholic girl. I had had one kiss. So the kind of things I was hearing about myself even put me into shock, as well as my parents. And my dad got like sick, like his nervous system shut down because I was the jock. I was his golden child. I was, his purpose in life was to create these like amazing, intelligent. My parents did everything for us. And when he found out that I was like the biggest slut in the entire county, he ended up leaving our family. And he went to like Costa Rica or Nicaragua for over a month, and we didn't think he was coming back. And my mom was like, "This is your fault. You ruined our family." So at the time, I would go to school, I would put my hood up, I would not speak to anyone all day because if I did, they would like shove me into lockers, like literally physically like push me around and call me names and come up to me with a different story every day of something that I didn't do, but that they just made up. And it was so funny to them. And people became friends over it because they were like bonding over a common enemy, if you will. It was insane. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why kids in high school can be so cruel, but a lot of people go through bullying in high school. So it's kind of a relatable story until it gets to the point where I had to go to court 3 times for sexual harassment. I had to change my phone number 7 times. I had to get a restraining order. And I got to the point where I couldn't see a future. All I could see every day was I would wake up and my family hated me, everyone at school hated me, everyone in like everyone hated me. So, as a natural instinct of being 15 years old when the whole world hates you, you find yourself on the edge of a building talking to God. And I was so angry with him. I was like, there's no way you're real. If you were, you would have sent me one person. You would have sent me one friend, one person in my family that could have believed me. And you sent no one. And the only download I got, the response I received from him was, why don't you be the one? If you're looking for one person who thinks differently, who doesn't need the parties, who doesn't need to be cool, who doesn't need to hang out with the cool kids, who doesn't need to make fun of other people based on a lie, why don't you be the one that stands up for yourself, that does what you want to do, that knows the truth, that seeks the truth, that does what's healthy for you as opposed to what's cool? And so in that moment, I chose me. Instead of joining their team and being another person that would just take myself out, literally, I decided to figure out what I wanted out of life. And in that moment, I became what I call unfuckwithable. Because the next day I went to school and this kid came up to me and he was like, Hey, I heard you had sex with 3 guys last night. And I was just like, actually, it was 7. Like, oh, you weren't there. Sorry. Like, you missed it. And I know you weren't there because I wasn't either. Like, so, like, you think you're cool? Like, what are you doing right now? And I flipped the script on them. So I also like learned how to start getting into fights to stand up for myself. Like for certain people, they just would not stop. And it got to the point where I had to literally like learn how to stand up for myself, like to speak up for yourself, which can be really helpful in day-to-day life when you have like these small conflicts with family members or people that you love or friends, and something's bothering you and you kind of just push it down because you don't want to start a fight.
Mhm.
But what I learned in that moment is like it's so important to speak up, even if it's a little thing or
Mm,
if it's a big thing. Like sometimes things are worth fighting over, things are worth fighting for. And so I had to learn that that was actually a lot less scary than staying quiet.
mm,
Lots of lots of little stories that come from that. But yeah, overall, that was the best thing that could have happened for me because it taught me how to not care what other people think
mm,
and to do what you love to do and to like pour your passion and energy into things that are aligned for you. And for me, it was sports instead of partying. I never got into partying because I wasn't allowed to get into the party. Like
mm.
I never learned how to party. I would try to go and I would knock on the door and they would slam the door in my face. But little did I know that was God saying, hey, this is not good for you. At
Mm,
the time, it sucked because I just wanted to go to the party. But if I had gone to the party, I probably would have been an alcoholic, a drug user, 16 and pregnant.
mm,
I needed attention when I was young. I wanted everyone to know that I exist and like me. Instead, I got the opposite. And
mm.
it was the best thing ever because you no longer look for external validation because you figure out like who am I and what matters to me and then you live that way.
I love that. What an amazing story. And there's so many things you said that I want to touch on. I think a lot of people can relate to getting bullied and being bullied. And I've been on both sides of that. I was bullied and I also was a bully at times in my life. And I think like there's that expression like hurting people hurt people. And you don't know that when you're young and you get these traumas and you don't understand what's happening. When I was about 11 or 12, I was hit by a car, and so I was in a wheelchair for middle school. And I was the only kid in school in a wheelchair, so that was not great, and there was a ton of bullying that came with that. But it too alchemized me, and I love that you shared that on your retreats, that all the entrepreneurs that you talk to kind of all can identify with these origin stories. And I love that expression, unfuckwithable, man, because, and you talked about how it shows up for you today and by saying no and standing up for yourself. And, I think that it's interesting because even in business, in the business world, I find that if I don't stand up for myself over here, that I also don't stand up for myself over here. And there's a compounding effect. And when I don't maintain my sovereignty and I don't say no or speak up, then that bleeds into other areas of my life. And all of a sudden, I'm not as good in the boardroom or on the Zoom call or in the negotiation. So I think that's interesting because I've never thought about it like that till you just said that, where it's like, hey, I need to stand up for myself in all areas of my life from that lesson that I learned. So that's a really cool lesson. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And so how did that then carry over into sports? You mentioned that you used that as kind of fuel. So talk to me about that part of the journey.
Yeah, so because I had no friends, what do you do? Like once you decide to live and you don't commit suicide, you have just you. Like I was my only friend.
Mm.
So, uh, sports were still available to me, and that's the only thing that I could do because growing up we didn't even have TVs. We still don't have a TV. Uh,
They're
that's something.
overrated.
Yeah, I mean, something that I really live by is I want to create more than I consume.
Mm.
Like, so, I mean, we could have a TV and we could like watch podcasts all day, but we just don't. So I had nothing to do. I just went into sports and I had so much anger and depression and all of the feels, all of the vibes you could possibly imagine as a 15-year-old that is against the world.
Mm.
Really good. Like
Mm.
there would practice, let's say from 4 to 6. I would get out of class at 3 and go start hitting the ball, or I would
Yeah.
start for a run before practice. And when practice was done, I would bring the ball home and keep hitting it against the garage until my dad yelled at me because I was
Mm.
rude. property depreciation, right? Like that's all it was. Ball is life. It was me and volleyball. It was me and track. It was me and basketball. It was me and soccer. It was anything.
Mhm.
Um, because I quite literally didn't belong or couldn't fit in anywhere else. And when that's all you do all day, every day, you get really good very
Mhm.
quickly. And I also had just like my dad calls it fangs. He's like,
Bangs?
fangs. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like I was just ridiculously aggressive and competitive
love
because
that.
I had all this fire to burn from the emotional trauma that I was going
Mm.
through. So
Hmm.
the alchemist turning something into something else,
Hmm.
fire can take a metal and turn it into anything or whatever it does with I don't know. I'm gonna say. That's what I did. I took the emotional trauma and I turned it into what ended up becoming a D1 scholarship for the best college for beach volleyball in the nation. They were number one. It was for Pepperdine, and beach volleyball had just became an NCAA sport. I don't
Mhm.
even play beach volleyball, and I was the only freshman recruited. So to me, that was a dream. It was
Mhm.
like all is life. That's all that mattered, and I made it to the top very quickly. And then I was the worst player on the team. I went from being like the best
Oh
person in
wow.
the country. Yeah, best person in the state to like being the worst person in the country on that team. And yeah, it really like takes you places.
Mm.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like Kobe and Mike Tyson and Jordan. I mean, all these people that were like always the underdog and had to come early and stay late. And I just think it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, because what else are you gonna do? Like, what are your choices? You can like pity party, woe is me, let it destroy you. Like you said, slip into drugs and alcohol and do these things that hurt are harmful, or you can use it. And at that young age, there was something inside you that chose to use that. And so good on you, because some people, a lot of people go their whole lives without learning how to kind of tap into that, and it becomes a superpower. What, like you said, it was the worst thing that ever happened to you, and turned into the best thing that ever happened to you. So that's a great story.
To be fair, suicide was the first option.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I going through it, at first I wanted to party. I
yeah,
wanted like all of this the vices I would have
mm,
if that was available to me. I would totally would have taken
sure,
that route looking back on where I was at.
yeah,
But it quite literally was God saying, no,
mm,
that's available to you. You're going to have to figure this out the hard way because this lesson is a gift that I'm giving you that's going to turn you into someone that's capable of doing something even greater one day.
love that.
I asked my dad, why is this happening? And he
Mm,
said, you're being built for something.
love that. Well, so then tell me about that. So volleyball, and so how did that then pivot into the next chapter of your life?
Yeah, so I played beach volleyball for a while, but the schedule for D1 athletes is you get up at 5, you have the gym at 5:30 to 6:30, you drive to the beach, you're there at 7, from 7 to 8 you have conditioning, which is just sprints in the sand. Absolute hell. That's from 7 to 8, and then you have like a 30-minute window for breakfast, but you don't eat because then you have
Mm,
practice. So you kind of just have like a little snack or enough to like get you through. Practice was then from 8:30 to 11:30. We'd be back by 12. Class was at 1, and it
mm,
went to like 5 or 6:30. Then you had mandatory student athlete study hall from 6:30 to 8:30, and then you basically got to your room, had a conversation with your roommate, and went to bed. Or you did your homework, like the rest of your homework, and then you went to
yeah,
bed. So you had zero time for anything.
yeah,
And I was always like a very creative person. I really loved photography. Like I've got cameras all over this place. So I even have like this is
nice.
created my career. So on the weekends, I wanted to do something with my life, like other than beach volleyball when we didn't have games. So I started making a list of people that were cool. Like if you can do a backflip, if you can create content, if you are, I don't know, something fun where it's just like, yeah, come hang out with us and we're gonna go to a cool spot. So
Mhm.
I would find these cool spots all over California, anywhere in Malibu. And I would just invite people to it every weekend if they were on this list. So this list became like Weekenders.
Mm,
We would just meet up. Eventually, we wanted to monetize it. So we started reaching out to brands and we started reaching out to like resorts and luxury travel companies so that we could go to cooler places and actually monetize what we were doing, which really was not anything. We
Hmm.
were like generation two influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
it was cool. It was cool at the time. Now it's like kind of looked really down upon.
yeah.
Everyone wanted to do it,
Hmm.
and we were doing it. We were traveling the world and getting paid to do it. Eventually, I even stopped playing beach volleyball so that I could travel more
Mm.
because I realized that there's a whole world out there. The first time I went to Switzerland, I was telling you on the phone yesterday that when you travel, especially the first time you go out of the country,
Hmm.
it awakens a version of you that didn't exist yet. Almost if you were like a chemical compound and you met the sun or heat for the first time and you were able to like change. Again, I'm turning this into science. I'm not a scientist,
Love it.
but you're able to transcend or evolve or transform in a way
Yeah.
that you was capable because you're seeing new cultures, new languages, new places that at the end of the day become a part of you and then you become world class.
Mm.
Each little part of the world
Hmm.
you can relate to, you can resonate with, you have it in your heart as a piece of you.
Hmm.
So then yeah, we started traveling, we started getting paid to travel. And then I guess that leads into the story of like when I quit that. But
Let's do it.
have
Let's get into it.
anything you want to add? Okay.
Well, I do have one question before you go there, because you touched on something. You said that you were kind of like a Gen 2 influencer, and that kind of thing did eventually start becoming looked down upon. And, as someone from the outside looking in, when I saw your event, when I saw your posts, I didn't feel like it was like all the other ones. And it resonated with me because I know what you're talking about. There is that other kind of element out there. And so what do you think caused that? And what do you think makes you guys different? Because I know you're different. I can tell just by looking at it. But tell me about that.
That's such a great question, actually. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, so I saw a couple of like YouTube influencers get on stage at an event and they said, "What is an influencer?" And they didn't have an answer for it. The true answer, in my opinion, is like a real influencer is someone that has the influence to persuade someone to take action to do something,
Mm,
specifically buy something. So if I truly have influence over you and I'm like, hey, you should buy this ring or you should buy this camera because it's amazing and I use it and you go buy it. That's what an influencer was. It was someone that could influence people to do something. Even if I was like, "Hey, I'm in a cult, you should join." And I was influence you to spend your time and energy to basically join like a religion, like something crazy, right?
yeah.
Um, but the problem is that a lot of people wanted the attention instead of the actual sale. So an influencer is someone that can generate sales for me. Like if a brand is wanting to work with an influencer, you got to look at their actual cost per acquisition
Mm,
as like how many likes, how many views, how much engagement. It's what's your closing rate.
mm,
At how many, if you have 1,000 impressions, how many of those 1,000 people are actually going to buy that product?
right.
So now, I mean, Weekenders is not a group of influencers anymore like it used to be. Now it's a highly curated group of entrepreneurs that share the same core values.
Mm,
So we'll dive into that a little bit more, but we're not influencers at
mm,
all. Technically, if we have personal brands and we're selling something, I guess you could define that as an influencer, but really the term has evolved into founders.
mm.
Like we're really entrepreneurs that are selling something that can be calculated by intrinsic quantitative or qualitative value, as
Love
opposed to
that.
being seen. Like the reason it got destroyed was because a lot of girls, for example, would like put on a Gucci sweater that they bought,
Hmm.
take a picture in their
Hmm.
Gucci sweater
Hmm.
and say like and tag Gucci and be like, "Oh, I'm an influencer." And it's like, okay, Gucci did not send you that. They
Yeah.
didn't pay you for this.
Yeah.
You're literally giving them free advertising. And yeah, I don't know. Probably no one's gonna buy that sweater.
Mm. But I like that distinction. You guys are founders and entrepreneurs that are at this retreat mastermind, and sure, as you might also have influence, and individually they might also be influencers, but that is not the driving force behind that retreat. I think it's an awesome distinction. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And for the entrepreneurs that we choose as well, when I switched just it being an influencer trip to it being a mastermind,
Mm,
started producing personal branding content for entrepreneurs. So I was
mm,
helping with their personal brands, but I wasn't teaching them how to be an influencer. It was more so, does your product, company, or service
mm,
increase the quality of life of others?
mm,
Because there's a lot of trust fund kids. There's a lot of people that, one time I had this Amazon store creator that was scamming people. And I
mm,
didn't know at first, like, how to tell if someone was legit or not.
mm.
So the people that we bring are people that have legit, verified, vetted companies that are helping people. So we don't, like, I won't bring someone unfortunately, that owns like a vaping company or an alcohol company or an OnlyFans management company or anyone that does OnlyFans. There's actually quite a lot of non-negotiables for me on the list of who I'm not inviting because it's really about finding people that have the same core values and building those relationships. And then the experience and what's offered at the event, anybody could create that, anybody could produce that. Um, but it's really about bringing together the right group of people to have relationships that can have a compounding effect on the rest of your life, business wise and personal wise.
Well, I think that's a fantastic segue into the four elements of those retreats. I know we kind of skipped a little bit of the Hawaii story and stuff, but I really want to continue on this thread and this through line. So, to your point, how do you guys accomplish that? Talk to me about Weekenders. Talk to me about what you're doing today. The physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Give us a sight into that world.
Yeah, actually, the only part of the Hawaii story that's really important is the creation of those four
Oh,
elements that,
let's go. All right, we have to include it then. And bring it on.
yeah. So once I found out that being an influencer wasn't fulfilling, like, okay, so first of all, I want to say that if you decide to be different and you want to travel the world, you want to get paid to do it, great, quit your 9 to 5. It's totally doable. However, once I did that, my soccer coach died from high school. My high school soccer coach like suddenly died. She was our age, and it was a heart attack like out of nowhere. And I went to her funeral, and it was so impactful. Like people were out the door. Not everyone could even get in. And the people that were in, the things that were said about this woman was so impactful and so meaningful. And it made me look at my life and say, okay, if I was to die now, what impact do I have? Like, not just from a selfish perspective of who's going to come to my funeral, but did I actually create deep, meaningful relationships? Did I actually help anyone?
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, I realized like I made a post, a story, and I said, does my content ever make you feel any of the following? Depressed, like your life isn't good enough, sad, anxious. I just named a bunch of bad emotions. Guess what percent said
Mhm.
yes?
Well, I didn't know what you used to post. We haven't been friends that long, so it's hard for me to know. Over
Me,
50?
a Ferrari that wasn't mine.
Say again.
The content was like me standing in front of a Ferrari that wasn't mine. Or like,
Then I would say over 70%.
yeah, it was 90%.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, your content doesn't make me feel good. It makes me
Mm,
feel like because I now want this thing that I feel like is so far away from me that
mm.
I have. And to be honest, I didn't have it either. I was just taking pictures for
Yeah.
companies. Stuff
Right.
was mine.
Yeah.
My bank account was at zero. My relationships were at zero. Like I had friends, but we were all just fighting over who could build the best personal brand and who could be like a more famous influencer. It was clout.
Yeah.
It was it wasn't something that anyone's ever going to remember at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that mattered. So I just quit everything because I looked like a billionaire, but I was so depressed because none of it was really real. Like technically it was all real. We were getting paid to create those marketing campaigns, but I didn't know what my purpose was.
Mm.
So that's when I moved to Hawaii and I didn't have much. I got a car. I was living out of a car. I had my camera, right? So I could still make money shooting branded content for, clothing brands, etc. But at the time, I didn't have anyone. Like I was alone. I was depressed. I had just left like that whole influencer world. I broke up with my boyfriend. I was brokenhearted. And um, I said, what really matters? I started seeking out what really matters.
Mm.
And I found that there's only four things. There's only four ways that we exist. And you will find this in any personal development book. You will find this in any spiritual book. Like, there is not a fifth way that we exist. There's not a fifth thing that matters. Everything that matters to you that will make you happy or successful falls into one of these four categories. And the first is simple, it's physical. It's that we exist as physical human beings, and everything that I need to do needs to optimize that. So I want to learn about biohacking. I want to work out every day. I want to eat healthy. I want to, take care of even like skincare or anything like getting sunlight, all of the things that help you physically. What environment are you in? Stuff like that. And then there's intellectual. So I was like, okay, I'm only going to consume knowledge that will help me learn how to actually start a business that produces value. I'm going to read books. I'm going to go to masterminds. I'm going to meet people. Anyone that's in my life right now, I need mentors. I need people that can give me advice. I need to be around people that are doing great things because proximity is contagious. So the second one is IQ, and that helps when you're depressed. Read a book. Like, it stimulate your mind. Like, tap into something that is intellectually stimulating. That actually helps if you're depressed. You need to learn something new. Emotional intelligence is the third. It's relationships, it's connections, it's people. And so that's when I was like, I need to go to events where I'm learning and I'm meeting the right people. Number four is spiritual. So when I say spiritual, I don't mean religious necessarily. I mean, how conscious are you? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your purpose? Are you creating a life by design? Are you connected? Do you feel love? Are you able to feel like complete and zen? Like, are you grounded? Stuff like that, where it's like, okay, I had so much like anxiety, I didn't know where I was going. It's direction, it's knowing. So it's also faith. It's just being delusionally optimistic. Like, not to make it religious, but having faith is really helpful because you believe that if something's happening, it's happening for a reason. If something bad is happening, it's because it's going to be a gift down the road. Like what happened to me in high school. I didn't see it as a gift at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, thank you, God, for giving me the skills that I learned from that horrific experience. So now Weekenders is focused on the evolving in those four ways. So I call it quantum development because quantum is four, and quantum also means things that are not necessarily physical. So it's all of those four ways that we exist. So
Fantastic. And I could not agree more. And I think it's interesting where you mentioned that whatever book you read, self-help, mentorship, program, that there is a through line of those four things. And it's ancient. That's how it's always been. That's how it'll always be. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish usually is going to fit in one of those four buckets. You mentioned ego earlier, and something that I talk about on the show often is ego deaths. I think that it's so important, especially for somebody that's an entrepreneur, where we can get so attached to the identity of the doing, right? Like this is who I am. I'm this thing or I'm that thing. And for me, and to piggyback off what you're talking about, it's not the doing, it's the being. Like we're already here. I'm already the thing. And I can show up in these other areas and I can be a CEO and I can be all these things. But that's not my identity, and that doesn't define my value. And man, it's so hard with social media to stay out of that trap. I also used to post like that when I was in the entertainment industry. I was a singer and a songwriter, and so many of my posts I felt contrived, and that it's almost like this vicious cycle where I couldn't get off the hamster wheel of I have to continue to post to keep up this persona, but feeling that cognitive dissonance of like, this doesn't resonate with me, and this doesn't represent me, and to your point, it's not good for me or the viewer. Like nobody wins. Like nobody wins. Like when you're showing up in an egoistic way, it's making you feel bad and it's making them feel bad. So I think it's really incredible that at especially such a young age, you have found this ability to be authentic and still show up. Like you still have to, like you mentioned, physical. Like you're still showing up with your hair done and looking good and taking care of your health and taking. But that is not the head. That's the snake, right? Like you're not doing that in a way where it's like, look at me, look at me. It's coming more from a place of self-love and taking care, nurturing the thing that you want to do, regardless of whether or not people give you praise for it. And that's very difficult. And you know, I just want to commend you for that. And I think it's really cool that you've now created this community of like-minded individuals, because I think it can be a lonely place when you go through that process, when you go through these ego deaths, and when you try to find a way to get your sense of self-love and validation without needing that from an external source. It can be very lonely. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about what community looks like at these events, and give me like a day in the life on how you guys are working together to create that sense of empowerment.
Yeah, so when I first, I mean, man, there were so many things that you just said, by the way. I was like, yes,
Yes,
and
Ed, let's go.
talk about all of those things for so long. But to answer your question, when I first started this, my ideal client was a multimillionaire and I was
Mm,
broke. So how do you, as like a young 20-year-old that has no money, that is not wise, that is not emotionally intelligent, that hasn't read all the books, how do you sell something to someone who has?
mm,
Like, how do you sell something to someone who seems to be so much more ahead of you? And really, I found the answer is that I needed to become that person. So doing, looking good and showing up and going to the gym isn't even a matter of doing it for myself. It's like I wanted to become my ideal client. I wanted to
mm,
become a person that could align with others so that if they were talking about a book or a concept or psychology, like, yeah, I've read that, or
mm,
here's my, like I could actually connect and go deep layers in those conversations.
mhm,
So finding those people, first of all, becoming that person, and then second, finding them was very hard
mhm,
because the vast majority of people are not meant to be leaders. Like they're not wanting to take on the risk. They're not wanting to become entrepreneurs. They're not wanting to do personal development and look at themselves and say, like, here's all the things I don't like. Here's where I want to grow. Here's how I'm going to work on being coachable. Here's how I'm going to communicate better. Here's how I'm going to, show up different to really provide value to people. And here's how I'm going to make sure that I'm successful so I can operate out of abundance. So that way I can actually provide for people as opposed to like being so focused on all of my needs.
mhm.
Most people honestly just like to have things be secure. And there's nothing wrong with that. We actually need that.
Yeah.
But finding people that do want to be different, finding people that do have this insane grit and this persistence and these deep, horrendous, traumatic stories that they've overcome, and people that are obsessed with growth and obsessed with personal development and
Mm,
obsessed finding out what we are capable of and becoming more spiritually grounded or even going further out, that was really rare at first. It was really hard to find. Now it's actually becoming a lot easier. And I think there's a couple of reasons why, like just statistically, I've been doing this for 6 years now. So the content is there, the proof of
mhm,
concept is there, friends of friends. But what's happening now, especially as I finally figured out how to effectively run ads, is that I'll message, my ads will reach, let's say, 100,000 people. 2,000 of them will click on the ad with interest. Out
mm.
of 2,000 people, let's say there's like 80 phone calls. Out of 80 phone calls, 30 people ended up going on my past two trips, like average 15 per
Wow.
people per trip. So out of 100,000
Yeah.
people, there were probably close to 1 million impressions, to be honest. I actually didn't even check that metric. But out of 2,000 conversations of people that were interested, the people that ended up going were the easiest, quickest conversations.
Mm,
The people, and there were like a lot of like really horrible like responses as well. Like the vast majority of people are hurting. The vast majority of people are not happy with themselves. The
yeah.
vast majority of people are not the 1% of the 1%, which is really what I'm looking for. I want to find the most extraordinary people in the world and put them in a room together or the villa or the shipwreck and see, like see if they can survive, whatever the activity or experience is. I've always been seeking out like what's the greatest capacity of relationships we can create.
Mm.
Um, and those people that want to come, they see it, they know it, they're like, that's what I want. I align with this. They don't even know me. They don't even know other people going. They don't even know where we're going or what we're doing.
Mm.
They just send wire 10 to 15K and they're like, I'm in. Like I know this is for me and I'm in. It's really just an interview at the end of the day to make sure that we're aligned.
Love that.
So client acquisition has actually become a lot more fun and
Mm.
much more attainable
Yeah.
than
Well, I
so.
think it's
Oh,
such a
Brian.
great answer. No, it's such a great answer because as you were talking, it's like yes and also with me, and it's almost like you're reaffirming things within my own journey, and man, become the change you want to see, right? And so your tribe will find you when you become centered and grounded in your authenticity. And man, like I don't know, I've been on this self-help and journey for a long time, and the ego still doesn't go away from me. It's interesting, like it's still there, but it's just not as loud. It almost becomes this like, this like petulant adolescent child that I have to like every now and then buy ice cream for. But like quiet little buddy, like we're not, we'll give you some attention later. The adults are talking. And I don't know if it ever goes away fully. I believe in duality, be in the world but not of the world. But man, it's I don't know anyone, unless you're like a monk in Tibet that doesn't still struggle with these things. And so I just want to encourage anyone that's listening. It's like, by no means do any of us have it figured out. Like, we're all on a journey. Everyone is a work in progress. Everyone is just trying to find love, really, I think, at the end of the day. And it comes through connection. But if you're not being authentic, or at least attempting to be authentic, that connection won't feel as strong because no one's really getting to know you. It's like an avatar hanging out with an avatar. And the more we can try to like shed those things and just really try to show up as our authentic selves. And I know that's like such a buzzword lately and everyone talks about authenticity, but it really is true. And now you get to have these real moments. Like our call yesterday, we skipped like 30 hangouts yesterday. We went like, from right to the juice of it all. And I think that's great, man. So anyways, I'm really, really impressed by what you're doing. And I think it's awesome. And anything I can do to help and contribute and get the word out, I'd be happy to do because I think it's super important. And the ripple effect that you guys are going to have. How many people went to the last one?
We had an average of 15 people at the last two events.
So 15 people, and you combine all of their audiences, all of their followers. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not potentially millions of people. That ripple effect from what you guys doing, and you mentioned the word impact. I think instead of being influencers, let's be impactors. That
Mhm.
is such a more valuable expression because you still have influence as an impactor, but what is the form of impact? Like you said, like you don't want people there that are not impacting the world in a positive way. So if I can coin that phrase impactor, I'm going to do it right now. I don't know if anyone's using it, but maybe we just made it together. But yeah, I love that. So beautiful. Oh yeah, go ahead.
What's interesting too? Like when we're talking about the types of people that are aligned, is I've noticed that there's really two types of people at my events, and one is my ideal client, and the other is just not quite there yet.
Okay.
Um, the most successful people at my events, people that have done $100 million plus exits, people that are just insanely successful, they're able to experience things very deeply.
Mm,
So in contrast, I had an event recently where someone was in tech, or I'm sorry, he was in finance, and his nervous system was shutting down, and he was just like not even able to sit down, like just really not able to participate, like not able to meditate, not able to calm the nervous system, not able to. I have these games that I call at my events. They're really like intrinsic intellectual and emotional intelligence breakthrough experiences designed for people to have deeply integrated conversations, but that's a lot of fancy words, so I just call them games.
love that.
And these games are deep embedded psychological breakthrough experiences. So the most successful people, they go deep. Like if
Mm,
I to a meditation, they sit down and they're like, how deeply can I meditate right
Mm,
now? They get curious about how much can I expand? How like I am so here for this experience. Another thing that can be said for that is people are also paying a lot of money to be at this experience. So if someone pays $100,000 for something and you give them the same product as someone that pays $10,000 for something, the person that paid 100,000 is going to cherish that.
100%.
Like they value it. So the most successful people value their time.
Mm,
When they show up deeply. They show up as present as you could imagine. And that type of connection, when you're around people that are unbelievably just present and grounded and complete, that's my favorite kind of person.
mm,
And the thing about that, how you said like killing the ego is really hard. Um, a lot of them really have done a good job at killing the ego. I know that we all do still have ways to evolve, but I just want to mention that it is not perfection is not an illusion. Like killing the ego is possible, and I've seen it in a lot of people where they just show up in a place of giving.
mm,
I something a part of what the ego could be defined as is your needs.
mhm.
Like I just need to give him ice cream sometimes, right? The ego needs to be seen. The ego needs to be known and understood. The ego needs the attention. The ego needs, all these things. And when you don't need any of that and you're just showing up, like some of these guys that they have all the money in the world, they have amazing relationships, and they're complete and they're showing up to see how much more can I expand. Their ego's not there. Like they're just really at them. Like they've been able to separate that.
Mm.
And it's just such a deep level of psychological expansive conversation and understanding and consciousness. It's amazing.
I love that. One of my favorite definitions of ego is separate. So ego usually wants to be like above or below, right? Like I'm worse than you or I'm better than you. And I think what you touched on is so important because when I feel the most free of the lies of my ego is when I'm showing up as service. And I think you just said that because service, it's out of me. My focus is on you. I'm not thinking about me. What can I gain? My focus is outward. And that goes back to connection. And to me, I never feel more connected to God than when I'm talking to another person and we're showing up for each other in service. To me, that's like the secret handshake. Whenever I do get back into that egoistic mindset. So thank you for sharing that because I think that's so important. And I know it sounds like a little cheesy, but being of service, like it's not that hard. Even if it's small little things throughout the day, like do something good for somebody and don't tell them. Like watch how good that makes you feel. Like you see a meter that's about to expire, put a quarter in it and tell nobody, And it's just these little shots of like getting out of yourself. So I don't know. I think I resonate with what you said.
Yeah, I had a really powerful mindset coach at my most recent Costa Rica event, and she was saying that a lot of times it's a matter of like value over validation. If you're
Mm,
operating out of validation, like you need to have a reward for the act or you need to be praised for whatever it is that you're doing in order for it to be good enough. But when you're doing something in a way where you're like, how do I want to bring value to the world? Like, how do I want to be of service? That's when people can do things and not worry about, well, what if it's not perfect? Or
mm,
what if I fail? That's when you're thinking, I need to be validated. I need to be seen as a winner
mm.
versus I just want to make sure that my goal here is to help people with this lack and I'm going to provide that. And the more you provide, the more successful you become because if you're really providing value, you're going to make a lot of money
So
because you're
true.
you're solving a problem that
So
people
true.
actually need. And when you do that, now you're abundant in wealth, you have true impact, you're operating out of value instead of validation. So it doesn't even matter if you win or fail. And at the end of the, and you can't really fail anyway, because at the end of the day, you're just providing value.
Clip that. Could not have said that better myself. A fucking men to everything that you just said. I got nothing to add to that. That was perfect. Couldn't agree more. Well, Celia, thank you so much. We got a little bit of time left. I want to just go. We do this kind of fun thing at the end where we just do a speed round. So don't even think, just whatever comes to your mind and just let it flow. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Top five books.
Oh, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, number one.
Love
Best
it.
transformational book ever. 15 Habits of Conscious Leadership. That is actually about emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Really, really, like you must read that book. Everyone needs to read that book. It's simple, but it breaks down what our emotions are and why they're valuable.
Mm,
And it also really helps with solving conflict,
mm.
like being proactive in your communication. Oh, I love emotional intelligence.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm gonna buy it today.
that one is so good. Number three for business, Traction.
Ah,
Traction is a great book. For sale,
phenomenal.
I'm giving you one in each category. For
Please.
because I honestly I wish I could go grab my bookshelf and
Yeah.
just hung it up the other day.
We'll take a screenshot and we'll put it on the episode. We'll add it to the
Yeah,
episode.
no, this books are I cannot is the best thing ever. Um, so for business traction,
Mhm.
and also who not how. Who by GL Smart, who not how. So good for business, but specifically like business relationships and hiring.
Mhm.
And then for sales, you have to read um, Never Split the Difference.
Oh my God.
That
So
is
good.
such a great book about. I have all my sales reps read that book and a couple of others. So I think I need more than five, but I want to give you one more that's
Please,
spiritual.
bonus round. Let's go.
Actually, two that are
Go to
spiritual.
10. Let it rip.
Three. Okay, the first one, the best one. If you want to understand what enlightenment is, I thought it was just kind of like a Buddhist whatever term until I read this book and I was like, wow, I really feel enlightened. The Power of Now.
So good.
So good.
Hmm.
Another really good one is Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza.
Oh,
And
go to
the
Spence.
third amazing one, if you're going through heartbreak, or if you have like a disconnection with someone in your family, or if you've lost a best friend but they're still alive, like it's because you have some type of break in the relationship. The Breakthrough Experience by Dr. Dimitri is a healing book that will give you the skills to have a paradigm shift, to
Hmm.
be able to find beauty and forgiveness and energetic serenity through whatever happened. Amazing. So yeah, highly recommend that book.
Okay. Love that. Yeah, I think we got some mental, we got some spiritual, we got some emotional. Did we get any physical?
Well, there's two books that I have that I haven't read, but they're just in my book
Okay.
library thing. Um, Dr. Barbara O'Neill, it's about cures. I forget what
Hmm.
it's called, but there's two books that are basically about like natural remedies that can fix any disease or any bad. Zach's going to go see if we can find them.
Yeah, I need your whole bookshelf. Just give me the whole one. We'll trade. I'll send you mine. I'll give you my Audible list. Let's go. I love
One of
it.
them is called like Natural Cures.
Okay.
Again, these are just like books that I have more so reactively. Like if I get sick or if I know
Sure.
anyone that's dealing with something really strange, I can go in this book and probably find a natural remedy for something.
Love it. So that was a great speed round. And then I just have one more quick one. What advice would you give an entrepreneur that's up and coming right now that feels maybe how you felt back then? What would you say to somebody that's kind of going through their own alchemy moment?
Yeah, so you can either figure everything out on your own, and that will take, for me, that took 4 years.
Hmm.
Or you like when at the time there were not masterminds. Like masterminds were kind of a new thing. I couldn't find mentors. Like finding my people was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Hmm.
And it's so much more available to younger entrepreneurs now because there's so many masterminds and there's so many communities and organizations that are very focused on specific industries and what you're passionate about.
Hmm.
So find your people.
Hmm.
That is the number one thing. Like if you can invest in a coach or a mentor that's doing what you want to do well,
Hmm.
that will save you so much time because they can literally tell you, here's exactly what I've done. And I'm still looking for a mentor. Like if I could find the right person that's doing what I want to do,
Hmm.
talking about that with Zach. I was like, here's some people that if I could have a conversation with them or pay them for a session, I would. Because there's only two people that are really doing what I'm doing at the level that I want to do it at,
Hmm.
or in a way that's scalable. Um, because otherwise you're just kind of guessing and you have trial and error and you're going to fail a lot. And that's not something that is scary for entrepreneurs. It's something that is inevitable. Like you are
Hmm.
with failure. Like you are so familiar with failure because if you're trying everything on your own, you're just going to fail over and over and over until you get it right. Like that is inevitable. So if you're afraid of failure, you should not be an entrepreneur because yeah, you're going to fail a lot and it's okay. And then eventually you win and it makes it worth it. So yeah, I would say find your people, find mentors. Don't pay for school, pay for specific education that is actually going to give you an ROI on your investment. Find like read books, read like the right books. Listen to Evan's podcast, listen to the entrepreneurs that he's talking to, like listen to the books that they recommend. Those couple of books that I just mentioned completely revolutionized my life and my business. So,
Well said. Love that.
last thing
Please.
is focus on being coachable.
Mm,
Become the type of person that loves corrective criticism and feedback.
mm.
A lot of people, their ego gets in the way. If you're like, hey, I'm seeing an area where you can grow, or you made a mistake here and you can evolve. If you're coachable and you're like, yes, please give me that knowledge and feedback, and you're not going to get defensive and you're not going to get upset because you're actually have so much gratitude for receiving someone having the courage to be honest about you, about a way that you can improve, be coachable. Find ways to become coachable.
Love it. Amazing. Well, Celia, this has been awesome. We're definitely going to have to run it back. We have so much more to talk about. In closing here, the only thing I would say is there anything we left out? Is there anything that you want to say that we didn't touch on that you want to say to the listener?
Just both of our stories about how we almost died.
Let's go. Let's run it.
Do we have time?
We could do 10 minutes. Let's do it. 5 minutes,
Oh, you're
5 minutes.
back.
Go. You're up first.
You want me to, wait, you should go first. You should
You
go
want me to
first.
go first? Yeah. All right. I'll condense it to 5 minutes. Um, So many near death. Thank you for asking that question, though. And many near death experiences in my early child, like so, 11 years old, hit by a car, was a hit and run, put me in a wheelchair. And then in my like late teens and 20s, I flipped a lot of vehicles. I was a blackout, complete drug addict, alcoholic, and did all these crazy, wild things that almost died. But in all of those moments, I was blacked out. Even when I was 11, I don't remember it. So I never had that like moment of clarity in the middle of the near death experience, right? It wasn't until about, gosh, well, I think it was like 2022. I'm an avid hiker, love it. And just like you mentioned, like when I do something, I'm all in, like I'm obsessed about it. So if I'm taking up hiking, it's my whole personality, right? Like I go all in. And so I went by myself and I went to Mount Baldy. I think it's the second or third highest death rate per year. And I didn't know that at the time. And I went like in April where I didn't realize how freezing it was at the top of the mountain. Like you look at the weather and you're like, oh, at the base of the mountain, it's like 70 degrees, you're good. And then you get to 10,000 feet and it's like -13 with wind chill or something ridiculous. Maybe not negative, but it's definitely freaking cold. And I was not there to sleep overnight, so it was just a day hike. So I only had like a little bit of water, a little bit of food, a GPS, and a headlamp, and then I had some gloves and some poles. So I make it to the summit. It's awesome. I'd get my photos with the sunset. I fly a drone, but it's so windy that the wind literally takes the drone. So I lost that drone to give you an idea how fast the wind was blowing. Oh yeah, the drone was gone. So I got really scared because the temperature dropped like insane. Like I said, it went down, I think, to like 13 or something crazy with wind chill. And I was wearing like a Lululemon jacket. Like I did not have a loft jacket. It was just like a thin layer. And I'm rushing to get back, and the trail is gone. It's covered in snow, and there's no light. And I have my headlamp, but it is pitch black dark, and I fall and I kind of like slide down the snow into this like weird area where I can't like get back up the way that I came. And the only way to continue is to go forward. Like the only way around is through. And I'm looking down and it is pitch black dark. And I don't know if it's 200 feet or 2,000 feet. And I found out later it was 2,000 feet because I could see my GPS where I got off trail. And I remember just having to stab my poles into the snow and use them as wedges for my feet. And I had to take the whole right side of my body and put it against the snow to keep as much body friction as possible to not slide down. And I remember I'm just going and going and going to what feels like infinity. And I can't see anything in front of me or behind me or above me or below me. And I just remember having this moment of like, man, is this it? Like, am I going to die here on this mountain? And, just like you, I've had suicidal ideation when I was younger. I don't think I've ever been more present in my entire life than that moment. And I don't think I've ever been more afraid, but also liberated because out of nowhere, when I was in the middle of this literally faced with my mortality moment, another voice came in. And God, whatever you want to call it, said, "We're not done yet. We are not done yet." And in that moment, just one more shot of adrenaline, one more final push. And I literally put my poles down and I just started clawing the snow, like literally grabbing it with my gloves, clawing the snow till I finally got back up onto this, what felt like a trail. And dude, I just rolled onto my back, cried, laughed, prayed, all the things. And I made it home after that. But yeah, man, that I can go back there right now. And the gift that gave me is, just this knowledge that there's still more for me to do here. And to our earlier conversation, like I want to impact. That's why I'm here. So that's my near death story.
Yeah, I love it. The other day, when we were on the phone, I said, if everyone could experience a near death, like actually almost die,
Hmm.
that is one of the greatest things you could experience. Actually, even Zach, and who's just sitting right over here, um, he's one of the most, you know how earlier I said successful people can experience things deeply?
Hmm.
What I notice about Zach is when he hugs you, you can like, he's feeling your heartbeat. When he eats food, he like takes a bite of food and he goes,
Hmm.
like he tastes deeper. He listens when he hears music, he's like it vibrates through him. Like he is able to experience things deeply, which also tells you you have a very high IQ, like a high capacity to experience things. Um, and so when you almost die, like Zach had a near-death experience too, you change. You really, really appreciate every single day
Hmm.
or relationship. Like after my near-death experience, every time I hugged one of my friends, I hugged them because I was like,
Hmm.
this is the last time I ever hugged you. Life gets real and you really
Yeah.
have a deeper level of gratitude and you just honor moments so much more than you previously had the conscious ability to. So that's why I shared my near death experience is first of all, death is not scary. If
The
anyone's
listener
listening,
hasn't heard it. We need to hear yours now.
no, I know. Okay, I'll tell you the story, but I just want to preface it with, all right, I'll tell you the story first. So this was 19, 20-year-old Celia that was on a quest to prove that she could get paid to travel the world and be a full-time paid content creator.
Hmm.
So I had this, I had to get the shot. Like it was so important to me, more so than my life, to the point where I'm going diving for the first time. I'm free diving, and I'm pretty good at swimming. I don't know why, but I'm very mermaidic. And there's a shipwreck that's 50 feet down, and all the guys on the boat are like obsessed because they've never seen this shipwreck. I actually found it because I was flying my drone, and I was like, "Whoa,
Hmm.
look!" At this. And we could see it through the water because it was a really clear day. So we go there. They start diving. They go all the way down. It's about 50 feet down, which is quite a bit. Like the pressure down there is really heavy, but they know what they're doing. So they're going in and out. They're exploring the shipwreck, and I'm at the surface. I can get down to 30, can get down to 31, 32, 33, taking me hours to get to that depth, to be able to hold my breath that long and calm my heart rate to get to that. It's really hard to get that deep, especially when you have a floating camera. Like it has air, so you have to push it down.
Mhm.
And I have to get this shot. Like that's just my whole purpose and identity is becoming a paid content creator at the age of 19, right? So I go down, I touch the boat, I swim back up. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the shot. And I go down and I get to the boat and I start swimming in. Like I have my camera and I'm swimming into the boat. And by the way, you have to like equalize. And there's so much pressure that your goggles they get super tight on your face. Like your face is squished. And there's so much weight on top of you. And I'm going into the shipwreck. And at the time, I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of nothing.
Right.
And I was in dark water. and I couldn't see anything. I went into the ship and it was like these subconscious flashbacks of the Little Mermaid came into my mind, and it was like there's a giant octopus over there, there's a great white shark over there, and I can't see anything, and I was just started panicking. I've never had a panic attack before in my life. Like I said, I'm not afraid of anything, right? So I start panicking. I start losing water. Air starts filling my lungs. I try to like turn around, and the camera, like the door shuts, and I get scared, so I let go of my camera, which floats up. And now the door is closed. So if it was dark, now it's really dark. I don't even know where the door is. So I'm inside of a shipwreck, underwater 50 feet down, and the door is shut. This is like the worst diving. This is the biggest no-no in diving that you could imagine. So Celia, at this time, 19-year-old, I have to get the shot, reaches for my camera. Instead of like trying to find the door, I save my camera and I find it. But I'm also touching all the slippery octopus arms. Like I'm freaking out. I don't even know what I'm grabbing. I grab my camera. I find the door, I open it. At this point, like I'm convulsing. Like the water's filled my lungs. I'm really like doing this thing like where your body starts doing this. I've got nothing left. I open the door, I put the camera out, it floats up, I pull myself under, and I see that 50 feet. Like I'm looking at the surface. And I was just like, wow, that's really pretty. Like I'm not ever going to see that again. But it became so beautiful. And all the bubbles that are floating up from all the panic, they start turning pink and purple. And it becomes like it's a drug, quite literally, scientifically. Again, it was DMT that's being released in your brain when you're dying. And I knew I was dying. I was like, I had given up mentally. My body was still fighting to kick up to the surface, but when you're dying, like that was it for me. And I just remember like being in such awe and such euphoric beauty. And then everything just got really colorful and like kind of white. Like they say you see the light, like you do. It gets very like bright. Um, and then I just remember like I blacked out underwater. So I passed out. Like I lost consciousness underwater. But I was with a bunch of free divers. So luckily, like thank God they knew what to do.
Mm.
Apparently they grabbed me, they pulled me back onto the ship, and they started like blowing air over my eyes and on my face and like doing all of the things. And I just remember like feeling pain. Like I was in this euphoric state. I was in this like beautiful, I was probably passing into the next life or something. It was like amazing. It felt like it was a drug. And then I felt like my back on a hard surface, and I felt like this fire in my lungs, and I was like, damn it, I'm still human. I'm still alive. And I was angry. Like I was mad. They saved my life and I was mad. Like I was so mad to be alive because it was like your body is like released. It's like ready to move. And then you're like, no, you're not done yet.
So trippy.
Um, so yeah, there was blood, there was water. I had to go to the ER. Eventually I came back. Like first my vision came back and it was like just shapes and I couldn't see color. And then I started hearing sounds like super waterlogged. But eventually, like I went to the hospital and they did all these things, hyperbaric chamber, stuff like that, and I ended up being okay, clearly.
Yeah.
Um, but the point of that story is that one, death is not scary. So everyone is afraid to die, but really, it's not painful. I promise you, like even if you get stabbed or shot, your body releases these chemicals in your brain and in your body that heals you as you're dying. It's so beautiful. So number one is you don't need to be afraid of death. Like the scary part of it, it's really not that scary. It's like the moment before you die is the scary part. So yeah, number one is like you can forget about that fear. And number two is when you almost die, you really live differently because every single day that you wake up after you almost die, you're like, wow, I almost lost all of this.
Mm.
So if you can almost die, do it.
Disclaimer.
Almost die, but not really. Best thing you can do for yourself. That's the best gratitude enhancing experience. Yeah.
Love that. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. Unfuckwithable right there. Love that. Well, Celia, what an amazing conversation. I'm so glad we did this. Thank you for showing up and coming and being authentic and being vulnerable. And Man, I'm really happy with what you guys are doing. So where can people find you as we wrap?
Yeah, the best place is Instagram. It's just at Celia Smith. Weekenders.club is the website too. If you want to apply for an invitation, that's the first button you can click on. But that's it, Instagram and www.weekenders.club. But if you
Amazing.
want to connect with me, just send me a message on Instagram. I check all of my DMs.
Love it. And I'll be in Miami soon, so we'll have to run this back, and next time we'll do it in person.
Yeah, I would love to hang out now that we know everything about our
That's
lives.
right. Yeah. The heavy lifting's done.
Just be so transformational. Yeah.
Love that.
Can't
Well,
wait to see
everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.